Um, uh, it, wait, uh, wait, what? Hmm? Oh boy. It's almost time. 35 seconds. Cutting out? No, I was doing that on purpose. Because I'm silly. This would be cutting out. It's time. It's really just, it's really time. It's really time. There it is. 7 o'clock. It's time. Welcome. Order 42, Rob, you, me, chatting. It's going to be fun. Look at, I mean, we've already got a ton of people in here. You know, it's awesome. And I just screwed up my thing here. Okay, there we go. We have Ricky. Ricky came in first. He came in hot. We got Cosmo. We got Warehouse Dave. We got Calum. Welcome, guys. It is good to see you. Look, here's the thing. You just don't get it. I'm so excited. That crazy Greek is here. That is a crazy rumor. Disney is not going to be sold to Apple. I just don't see that. I mean, could it happen? Sure, anything can happen. But that's crazy. But we'll talk about Disney a little bit later. First off, how are you guys? How are you? Because I have had a crazy week. Yeah. Today was nuts too. It was fun. It was crazy. So here we go. You don't think Disney will sell? Are they rolling in dough? Well, I mean, they're having some issues, but we'll talk about that. We'll get to that. Trust me. We'll get to it. I got a lot to say about it. Because there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of rumors going around, a lot of things being said. But we'll talk about it. And my beard is like, there's like some hairs that are just, I mean, who cares? Who cares, right? Who cares? Bob for Bob. That's right. That's right. So I told you guys at the end of the last stream that the plan was to get the LG C2 OLED. So the thing came in on Friday. My niece was here. She's 14, I think. 13 or 14. It wouldn't fit in our car. So we had it. The guy was kind of like, I mean, I don't know. This is kind of whatever, I mean, this is up to you, but my suggestion would be to get like a truck, and have it. And I'm like, I think we can do this. I mean, we only live like a mile down the road, I mean, it's further than that, but anyway, just saying it's not that far. Let's just do it. So the way that, if you can imagine a Jeep Grand Cherokee with a TV sitting in there like this, because the box was just wide, it fit in there, but it wouldn't lay flat, and it wouldn't, of course, it's so tall. It was so tall that it wouldn't be upright. So it was kind of at this angle, kind of like this, and then we couldn't close the back hatch. I don't know. I guess that's what you call it. So it closed about this much. So it was only like this far that it wasn't closed. And April was like, I'm not driving the car. I'm not driving that. So because we both drove up there. So I drove up there in my BMW. She drove up there in her Jeep. She's like, I'm not driving that. So I had to move the steering wheel or the seat up so far. Me and my niece were up so far. I'm driving like this. like seriously, like like this. It was crazy. Luckily, it was only a short distance. We got it home and we got it in here. And it was like, Carbonite, welcome. I'm telling the story about the TV. So, yeah, it was definitely a this is fine, right? And it's like everybody, I was trying to drive really slow. And people were driving really slow around me. And I'm like, you guys can pass me. Would you guys just pass me? It was making me all like, ooh, Bucho, welcome. Bucho. I mean, I'm sorry. He's the only one that I have a thing for. But welcome, Bucho. Wearing that Order 42 shirt like a boss. I mean, come on. Anyway, so we get it home. No problems, right? No problems. I mean, like I said, the biggest problem was that it was making me nervous that everybody else was like, they were like stacked behind me. And Bob is here. Welcome. That is my dad, by the way. Good day to you, sir. I mean, we just saw each other a couple hours ago. We'll get to that too. So, we get it here. And the problem is, the box is so kind of unwieldy because it's very tall. So we had to just kind of inch it in here. You know what I mean? Just inch the thing in here. We got it in here. We got it unwrapped. And the first thing that we have to do is we have to take down the old TV and take the mount off the back because it's hung on the wall. We had to take the mount off the back and then take that and mount it to the back of the new TV, right? Wow. The biggest problem is that the way that it was, you can't lay it down. He was saying you got to be really careful. If you touch the screen, it will crack. You have to be very, very careful. So basically, you hold the TV from the bottom, and then you just support it at the top. And so I am. In fact, Dad, did you see this? We have a little Bucho action, wearing the Order 42 shirt. I mean, just get out of here. Anyway, yeah. So that's the biggest thing is that we've got to get this thing out, and then I have to screw these things in, and then we'll have to mount it, right? So getting it off of the wall, the old TV, the Sony 75-inch, getting it off the wall was surprisingly easy. Because what happens is there's two mounts that kind of like hook in, but then it kind of snaps in at the bottom. Click, right? All you have to do is pull these little tabs and it unhooks it from the bottom. So getting it down was pretty easy. Getting the things off of there. But then I had to have my wife hold the TV and my niece hold the TV while I'm screwing this in. And then my wife and I hung the thing, and seriously, it couldn't have gone better. I was scared. I was worried. I thought there's no way that this thing it's gonna work right. I'm freaked out. Thing is perfect. Except for one thing. And that is I hung the thing too low. So I screwed it in. So it's kind of like if you can imagine, here's the panel that I have to screw this in. I screwed it in like this. I really should have screwed it in up here because now there's like this much space between the entertainment center and the TV. And so now the TV, the top of the entertainment center reflects the TV, and it's really weird. And it's even more awkward because our living room slants. There's a ever since we bought the house, the living room kind of slants down. So now the entertainment center and the TV are like right there. There's this space, but it's a greater space on the left side than it is on the right side. So we've got to fix this. But not today. not Not until we have somebody else over here that can help us and doesn't mind working a little bit, you know. But and John is here. Welcome, John. Good to see you, sir. So yeah, it was a thing. The Beer Chasers is here. What is going on? I met Preston, the Beer Chasers, at Really Rad Weekend, and he took care of me. That guy took care of me, and it was awesome. He paid for the Uber to get over to Rad Bar. He bought pizzas for everybody. He bought my water, which, you know, I mean, some people say, well, it's only $1, you know, it was a big deal. Hey, I didn't have to pay anything. So big thanks to the Beer Chasers for being such a cool dude and for taking care of me. That was awesome. Because we were both like, we need to eat. It's time to eat, you know? It was awesome. So anyway, here's what I have to hook up. I had to hook up. We'll get to that. We'll get to that, Cosma. All good old Darth Octavius. We'll get there. I had to hook up the PS5, Xbox, Switch, Apple TV, and the new 4K Blu-ray player that I bought. You know, I bought I had purchased that about a week ago in preparation for this because I was like, look, we're getting a brand new Dolby Vision TV. The PS5 and the Xbox both have disc players that can play 4K Blu-ray discs, but they don't export Dolby Vision. They do Dolby Vision for the games, but not for the movies. So I was like, okay, well, I've got to get I'm getting a Blu-ray player. And it also helps to save the disc drives in there. You know, you're not sitting there just watching a bunch of movies. So, if that pizza was on Saturday night, then I stole a slice. Thank you. It was after it was sitting for like an hour. I didn't want it to go to waste. Dave, yes, it was weird. It took forever to get, because he basically bought it for Jay and me and, you know, anybody in sort of the crew. And yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. I thought that was great. It was really, really cool of him to do that. Game consoles don't do Dolby Vision for movies. Like, why? It doesn't make any sense. So this player that I got is, I'm looking at the box. I've still got the box in here. It's a pretty inexpensive Sony player. But it, you know, does Dolby Vision. So anyway, the first thing I do is I have to have, there's only 4 inputs. If you were keeping score, PS5, Xbox, Switch, Apple TV, Blu-ray player. So I had to figure out what was going to be on the little switch box that I have. And the switch box only does 4K 60. So I was like, well, I'm leaving the Apple TV on its own, PS5 on its own, Xbox on its own. Apple TV I could probably do on the Switch, but I figured, or on the Switch box, because I was thinking, you know, here's the thing. I want to try to do the 2 least used by my wife, so she didn't have to mess with it. Unfortunately, it had to be the Switch and the Blu-ray player. Now, here's the weird thing. For 2 days, I couldn't figure this out. Oh, and here's another thing. This is one of those things that people are probably like, I don't care, okay? But I thought it was interesting. So I have an old receiver. I say old, it's probably 10 years old. It's a Denon. It's a very, very nice receiver. It's 7.2 surround sound. I only have 5.1 hooked up. I'm not sure what the extra 0.1 is. But anyway, I've got it in 5.1. The problem is, since it's older, it doesn't do 4K 120 pass through. So in theory, the best way to hook up a bunch of stuff to one TV is to plug it all in the back of your receiver, which I have like 7 inputs. Plug it all back in the back of the receiver, and then you've got one out to the TV. But again, it doesn't do 4K pass through. So anything I wanted 4K, you basically have to connect directly to the TV. I hope that makes sense. The problem is I couldn't get the Switch or the Blu-ray player, 4K Blu-ray player, to do surround sound. I still can't figure out why the switch is, but it took me 2 days to figure this out. I'm looking on the back of the Blu-ray player and I'm like, holy crap, there's an HDMI out for audio only. So now I've got it set up where the TV displays the Blu-ray from the Blu-ray player, and then it goes out to the receiver for the 5.1. So the first thing I put in was the 4K Blu-ray for the Batman. And the reason that I did the Batman is because it's such a dark movie. OLED is all about those black levels, right? It is so good. It's so good. It looks so much better than the previous TV. Now, here's the thing. My dad got my previous TV. That's what I was doing today. I delivered my old TV to my dad. So he's got the 75-inch Sony. That's 4K HDR, but that's it. There's no Dolby Vision. There's no HDR 10 plus or whatever it is. So it's basically the very beginning of HDR with 4K. So, got to show some of the early Black Friday deals you got later if you got any. I would like to hear your deals that you're doing because I'm tapped out. That's my Christmas present. That's my Black Friday. That's my Christmas present. I'm not buying anything else. My wife and I have decided that that's our thing. We're not doing. Usually we do some stuff like we're kind of weird. Usually like at Christmas we'll say, well, let's just get some money, however much money. You get half, I get half. Let's go shopping. And we'll go shopping and we'll buy stuff. And sometimes it's just literally just buying stuff off of Amazon. It shows up and we're like, hey, look what I got. And they're like, yeah, cool. That's it. And it takes all the stress out of the Christmas stuff because, we buy stuff for each other every now and then, but for the most part, it's just, hey, let's just get money and have fun. Why go through all the mess? It's pretty cool, actually. So that's my thing. I'm not buying, like, seriously, if I buy something, it'll be something small, like a $20 thing here, a $30 thing here. I'm not buying anything, like, whoa, I just got an OLED, a C2 OLED, 77-inch. It's awesome. And Wraith, welcome. Yeah, I saw that deal on the Series S for $250. That's great. That's a great deal. Definitely. Carbonite. Rewatch those dark episodes of Hot D. They look good on OLED. See, I was complaining all the way through that series that it was so dark and I couldn't see anything. I'm really curious if it looks better on an OLED. Is it really considered black levels when the LEDs aren't even lit up on OLED when it's black? Well, here's the weird thing. Even on my old TV, there's that bleed through that happens, where you can, it almost looks gray. It doesn't look black. And that's one of those things that depending on how you've got things set up, that Sony that I had looked great. Depending on what you're watching, it looks amazing. But it's in those dark movies, it doesn't look great. Right? So April and I both were sold on an OLED about 2 years ago. And we decided that, yeah, when it gets to about the 5-year mark, we'll go ahead and swap out TVs. And that's what we did. We waited 5 years. So, but I'm telling you, it's awesome. It's really, really good. And especially when I got the Blu-ray player all set, because what's weird is I had to turn on Dolby Vision on the Blu-ray player. I don't know why. But once I got everything set correctly, man, it is insane how good this TV looks. So excited. So excited. But we watched parts of Top Gun Maverick. I put in episode 3, the beginning of episode 3. That's always like to me a big highlight. And that one, I noticed that when you change, and this is something I'm still working on this. Every input, it goes to default basically, and it turns on that interpolation, the stuff, the motion blur type stuff, where it adds frames in. So if you're watching something that's 24 frames per second, 24 frames per second and it's 60 frames, 60 hertz, it'll bump it up to 60 hertz and add in a bunch of fake frames in between the actual frames. And it makes it look real soap opera-y. You know what I'm talking about? I know you've seen this. I can't stand it. So I have to turn all that stuff off. I have to change all the color output and all that stuff. The brightness is turned all the way up. Brightness all the way up on a movie, though, is good. It actually looks good on an OLED. They say, yeah, your OLED should, you should basically max it out when you're watching a movie. Other than that, though, you turn it down a little bit. This is just, it's overkill. And especially if it's not Dolby Vision. If I'm watching something on YouTube or Twitch or something like that, no point in having Dolby Vision, But, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning about what the correct settings are and all that stuff. But man, I am incredibly happy. And of course, and it kind of makes my job more fun. My job, you know what I mean? Reviewing movies and stuff. They look amazing. I watched one of the old, I'm still trying to get sick a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, you can feel it when your body's like, hey, let's get sick now. And I'm like, no, I feel like my body's still trying to get sick. So anyway, I can't even remember the name of the movie. Five Shaolin Masters. So basically on the old, the Shawscope Blu-ray set that I got, put one of those in. I'm like, dude, this looks good. This looks really, really good. And of course, 77 inch. So, and yeah, oh, you're asking Ricky. Ugh, and my nose is running. Let's see what else we got here. I'm way behind, so sorry. Not buying anything big for a BTI or for a bit since I want to get yet another vehicle because I miss racing and want to get back into it again. Ooh. Yeah. I can see that. If I were you, I'd rewatch all my faves on that bad boy. I bet Aliens looks amazing. Yeah, see, Aliens is one of those where it's not in 4K. Alien is, though. So I can watch Alien. I haven't watched Alien yet, but we put in Jaws. We put in, let's see, what else did I put in? I put in Inception. I put The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight. So if you never bought the Blu-rays or the 4K for The Dark Knight or any of the Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises, there are scenes or sequences, I should say, that are shot in IMAX. So it goes from scope to like a 16:9 format. So it opens up. It looks amazing. It looks so good. One of the ones that I'm looking forward to watching is I watched when I was sick a couple of weeks ago, I watched Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers. And I want to watch Return of the King with the new setup in Dolby Vision, all that kind of stuff. I'm looking forward to that. Probably maybe this weekend I'll be able to watch that. I don't know, but I'm very, very, very excited. And of course I want to watch these because I've never seen these and I'm really excited to watch that. Even Police Story, I want to see that too. But yeah, I think that I'm telling you what, if you guys are in the market for a console and you want to do the ultimate or the Game Pass, I'm telling you, I still say that's one of the best deals in gaming right now. And I'm not even that big of an Xbox guy. I think that Game Pass Ultimate is awesome, especially if you have a PC, because you can play PC games and console games. It's great. But I remember back in the mid 2000s, the amount you'd save on a laptop or TV or a Garmin GPS, I remember those, was so substantial that you just had to go out and shop. Not so much like that anymore. No, and I agree with you. This TV was $300 off, which means that it's the 2022 model. So I'm assuming they'll be getting the 2023 models, the C3, I guess, soon. But I am happy with this for a while. I can't see myself buying another TV for at least, a good number of years. Now, I say that, and they'll probably come out with Dolby Vision Plus next year, and it'll be like, oh my gosh, this will like, blow your butthole out or something, which I don't know if that's a good thing. I apologize. That was weird. But you know what I mean? There's probably going to be something that's going to be different. Maybe they'll bring 3D back because Avatar is going to come out and oh my God, I don't know. But I just bought Xbox Series X games I got that aren't on the Discord. Pac-Man Repack, The Eternal Cylinder, Sonic Frontiers, Digimon, The Survivalist, Soul Hacker 2. Nice. See, I'm not buying any more games right now. I have a backlog like you wouldn't believe. I still want to play Cyberpunk. Still haven't even put it in. I haven't put in Guardians of the Galaxy, Alan Wake. What else is on my list? I still want to play the original. Like, I want to try to get through some of the Xenoblade games because they look like something that I'd really be into. Oh yeah, Dragon Quest 11S. I played the demo and was like, okay, I want to play this. I still haven't played it. I still want to play the original God of War. I say the original, at least the one that came out a few years ago, and then play Ragnarok. I want to play Horizon Forbidden West. Haven't played any of this stuff. I've seriously haven't played anything in a while, and I'd like to get into it, but I've been busy, which kind of sucks. But I have a crazy backlog on everything. Books, movies, games. It's crazy. So, yeah. Mandy or Willy's Wonderland. I actually own Mandy now. And The Color Out of Space. I bought a 2-pack because I wanted to see both of those movies. I bet CGI and animation looks amazing. Even, oh my God, I'm so far back. Maybe even Last Jedi. We actually put in Zootopia, and Zootopia looked insane. That was great. It was great. LG the best now? Is it Samsung? QLED or something else? Well, here's the thing. I think it really depends on what you're... To me, Dolby Vision is what I've been focused on because that's what the Apple TV is. And I know that there's going to be people that were like, oh, yeah, Apple TV, blah, blah, blah. There's Dolby Vision for HD, for the biggest, baddest HDR right now. There's Dolby Vision, and then there's HDR10+. The Apple TV only supported Dolby Vision up until this latest revision, which now it has both. But at the time, it only supported Dolby Vision. And the Samsung only supports HDR10+. Because I like Samsung as far as TVs go. But the LGs, the Sonys, and I think Panasonics all support Dolby Vision. So that's what I was looking at. And the LG C2 kept coming up on the best of the stuff. So I just focused in on that. And plus, I told you this before, 4K 120, which is what the PS5 and the Xbox Series X put out, 4K 120 hertz. The Sony only has 2 ports that allow that. And I didn't like that. LG has 4K 120 on all of them. So that's why I decided to go with that. Sound is just as important. I love excellent sound quality. Yeah, my sound system is great. It's aging. So it is a 7.2 system, but it was top of the line when I bought it 10, 12 years ago, however long it was. I don't know if you were actually talking to me. You might be talking to Ricky. But yeah, my sound system is great. It's great. But again, it just doesn't support 4K 120 or 4K at all. So I had to figure out the workaround. And it's basically everything plugs into the TV and then a digital out to my receiver so I get the 5.1. It's kind of a workaround if you have an older receiver. Crazy how far it's come. I still remember watching my first Blu-ray in a 1080p, first Lord of the Rings, and thinking it looked too damn real, almost like I was front row at a dude. It's more insane now. I'm telling you, when we put in Inception, and I went to my favorite part of the movie is when they first get to the city and all that stuff, and then it's intermixed with Tom Hardy. I guess spoiler alert for Inception, but when Tom Hardy's fighting the guys in the snow, and then you've got Joseph Gordon-Levitt doing the stuff in the elevator shaft. The sound is cool. It looks cool. Everything's like, that's my favorite, single sequence. So you can see Leo's pores and how many scars he has on his head, and it's like, wow, it's really crazy. And Cryptic, welcome Cryptic. I didn't see you there. Game Pass is the only reason I still have an Xbox. Otherwise, I much prefer PlayStation for the exclusives. I mean, true. That's true. I mean, PlayStation has some of the best. There's not any exclusives on each console for me to choose one over the other, so that's why I just have all of them. Yeah, me too. I mean, it's taken some time, and I'm, doing that whole thing where you pay for the Xbox over a 2-year period, but I figured I'm going to have Game Pass anyway, and at the time that I got it, you couldn't get a Series X. The only way that you could get it is by doing that, so I was like, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway. Play Cyberpunk, damn it. I know. Just can't get into the Halos or Gears games. Yeah. I mean, Halo's good. It's just, it's that gameplay to me is aging. You know what I mean? But Uncharted, Last of Us, God of War, Spider-Man. Yep. Uncharted isn't exclusive anymore anyways. Well, I mean, if you have a PC. Yeah. Yeah, I don't count PC in the console war either. I mean, I guess it does count. I just the what do you call it? The cost of entry is so much more expensive to get a good PC. It does cost quite a bit of money compared to, buying a PS5 or a Series X if you can get one, or even a Series S, Days Gone. I still haven't played Days Gone. I think I have it in my library because it was part of one of the PlayStation Plus months or whatever, but I still haven't played it. It's another one. Fortunately, I got bored after a bit, but it's not bad. I'm sad there's not going to be a sequel. I didn't care for it enough to want one. Yep. Wasn't much of a remaster. They sure did the bare minimum. Oh, on The Last of Us? I haven't even seen that. I mean, I haven't messed with that at all. But now I'm caught up. But yeah, seriously, it's great. Oh my God, here we go. Why? I don't even have... I just don't get it. Don't get it. Don't get why they keep targeting me. Maybe somebody doesn't like me. But, yeah. I've got a lot of movies to test. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Now, real quick, I do want to mention that on Saturday, if you guys were on the or they like me too much, exactly. On Saturday, I don't know if you guys saw it. I was on Echo Base Network, and we kind of got derailed a little bit. We didn't get to talk about everything. The plan was to talk about Andor, and was it Andor, Willow, and Indiana Jones 5. And we talked a little bit about Indiana Jones. We talked a little bit about Andor, and then we never got to Willow. But I was on there for the whole show. That was a lot of fun, and especially because I got to meet Robert Meyer Burnett and be on a show with him. I'm telling you, that was wow. Okay, I think you guys know the story. I've told you the story. But when I was starting Order 42, or when I was trying to figure out what I was going to call it, one of the things that I was thinking of, I kept thinking of different names. And one of the ones was Robservations. And I thought, that's kind of a cool name, right? Robservations. I thought it was kind of neat. Kind of, a little cheeky, but also kind of cool. So I looked at it, looked online, and of course I found Robert Meyer Burnett's channel called, his show is called Robservations. And I was like, who is this guy? And I start watching him and I'm going, wow, this guy really knows his stuff. And so that's how I started watching John Campea, is because of Robert Meyer Burnett, because he had the name that I wanted. And then Bucho and I, we actually came up with a couple of different names. Order 42 was one of the ones that kind of stuck out to us. And yeah, we went with it. And then I wrote a whole thing about what Order 42 means, and that was fun. Little creative thing that I got to do. But anyway, so yeah, I told that story to Robert Meyer Burnett, which was really, really cool. And getting to talk to him, and also getting to, yeah, see, he goes, it's Robservations at the Robservatory is what he calls it. So I was like, yeah, of course I can't use any of that stuff. And yeah, I am a nerd. Okay. I am. You were at the AEW pay-per-view event in Jersey. It's no big deal, dude. It's no big deal. If PlayStation Plus was as good as Game Pass, I would have made the move by now. That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. I would do the same thing. It's just not. I can't justify going. I have the bottom level, whatever the bottom level is. There's a medium level and a large, whatever. I mean, you know what I mean. There's different levels, and I'm only on the regular one because I can't justify it. Sting was 3 feet in front of me. That's pretty awesome, right? I mean, I'm not even into wrestling, and that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But yeah. So again, Nick over at Echo Base, for some reason, he really digs what I'm doing over here, and yeah, it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool to get to meet somebody that, again, I looked up to starting my channel, you know, and said, okay, well, this is the kind of level of intelligence that I want to try to present, such as it is. I mean, let's be honest. Sometimes I'm full of crap, okay? But it was fun to meet him. It was fun that the whole crew. What's it? Midnight's Edge was there. Paulie at the Latino Slant, I think is the name of his channel. I actually watched a couple of his. Did I like that argument over the Atari games? Yeah, that was great. That was funny. But what's funny is I've seen much worse arguments than that. Like that was a slight thing, you know? That was just a thing. Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. I love the police. Yes, Bucho. Yes. Oh, Bucho's been here. He's probably busy doing the working. And he's all like, hey guys, I'm Bucho. I'm from New Zealand. I'm a builder and stuff. And then he goes back into the shadows. He's like a ninja in a way. But anyway, if PlayStation would freaking do backwards compatibility with PS3 and down, then it would be great instead of the streaming crap they have for PS Now. That's true. But there are some, and there's definitely ways that they could do that. Why does Bucho talk like he's from Alabama? Because I can't do a New Zealand accent. I can't. I just can't. You've heard Bucho. I can't talk like that. There's no way. There's no way. Or maybe you haven't heard Bucho. In which case you should, you know, maybe, just maybe listen to our podcast that we did together talking about the Clone Wars. Every single episode of the Clone Wars, we reviewed it, and it was awesome. And it's really Bucho's thing. And I think he did an amazing job. I was really just the guy that I came on and said things. Did you just say that everyone should have their own Bucho? I mean, shouldn't everybody have their own Bucho? I think so. I didn't say that, but you should. Everybody should have one. Every channel on YouTube should have a Bucho. That's right. Anyway, what else do we have? We're 40 minutes in. Rob has a body pillow with Bucho on it. Yeah, and it looks like that. And I just... No. You'd rather have your own Ana de Armas? I mean... I'm just saying, that wouldn't be a bad thing. But, hey. I'm married, guys. I can't talk like that. Anyway, so because of the insane Florida trip, it took me longer than expected to get through the Lays of Beleriand, but I got through it. Now, I said it before, and I'll say it again. This is not. You see how like the color changed because of the blue? Now when I put it down, it'll get cooler. See how it's like slowly. See, now it's a cooler, it's a whiter. See that? And then when I put it back up, my face will get super warm. Watch this. Wow. Because it's trying to change the colors, right? That's kind of weird. I'm not a big fan of the warm. But anyway. Yeah, you should totally not read this if you've never read any of the Silmarillion or Unfinished Tales. The history of Middle-earth is not for the faint of heart, okay? You have to be a huge fan of Tolkien to be reading the history of Middle-earth because it digs deep, okay? It digs deep. Yeah, instant tan. Dagus one. I'm probably butchering your name, but welcome. Good to see you. And now we're back to the cooler temperature coloring, you know? You never even heard of that book? Yeah, because it's part of the history. So there's Book of Lost Tales, Lays of Beleriand, then it goes to The Shaping of Middle-earth, then The Lost Road and Other Writings, then The Return of the Shadow. These are 4 white ones. These kind of chronicle the writing of the Lord of the Rings. So all the different things that he came up with the Lord of the Rings, all the different variations in the text, like, okay, well, he was going to call this guy this and this guy this. All that stuff's really interesting if you're a nerd like me. If you're not a nerd like me, stick to the Lord of the Rings, stick to the Hobbit. If you're really interested, try the Silmarillion. But I bought the Silmarillion like 25 years ago and never got to it. I could never get into it. But now as I'm older, I've really gotten into it, and it's awesome. Marriage is just a word. It doesn't mean anything. Dennis Reynolds. Great person. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who Dennis Reynolds is, but just saying. I don't know. But now, since Lays of Beleriand is done, we have moved on to The Path of Daggers. And this is book 8 of the Wheel of Time. By the way, this cover is the book is actually about this size, and I really want them. They're paperback, but I really want them. But then I'm like, Rob, you have all of them digitally. You don't need a physical copy of these books, but I kind of want them because I want to display them, but it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for me to do that. But I kind of want to do it. Target has a buy 2 get 1 free right now. Along with, I guess it's buy 3 for the price of 2. I guess is what it is. But Target's got that sale going on right now, and Amazon has that sale going on right now. It's pretty sweet. And I think Target is books, video games, or maybe it's books, board games. Or no, it is video games, isn't it? Books, video games, and movies. So that's a pretty good deal. Greets from Spain. Good to finally catch a live stream. Big fan of your Star Wars vids. Kudos for digging into fan edits as well. Fascinating world. I'll tell you what. We're about to talk about fan edits and how fan edits might be in trouble. And I'm talking about fan edits in general. I'm curious for the people that have done some fan edits if they're a little worried now, because there's been some crazy stuff going on with fan edits. Dennis Reynolds created the amazing DENNIS system. I have no idea what that means. No idea. But I just started this last night, The Path of Daggers. I do have the audiobook from the library, which I highly recommend. Wherever you live, look into your local library and see if you have if they have a digital card system to where you can check out ebooks, check out audiobooks, even check out movies through your local library. It's the coolest thing. And even though I bought the whole set of Wheel of Time, I get the audiobook versions from my library, and I can listen to it while I'm reading, and it's, for somebody who's kind of ADHD like me, it works great. It works great. And like I said, I'm only like, I don't know, 30 minutes into this book of a 24-hour audiobook. So yeah, I basically just started. So I only started watching Always Sunny a few weeks ago. So far, it's living up to the hype. It'll probably take me 5 years to catch up. There are so many seasons. 15 seasons? Rob, you have all of them digitally. You don't need those physical versions, but get them anyways. Oh man, I'm telling you, I want them. But it would cost like another $150. I figured it out. It'd be like another $150 to get them all. And I just can't, man, I can't justify that for something I already have. It's hard for me to justify it. It's hard for me to justify it. It just is. Now, for those of you who are here, you get to hear the infamous, the amazing, the story of all stories, the fart story. Billy told me to tell this story on stream. So here we go. Are you guys ready to hear the fart story? This is seriously the fart story. Okay, you ready? So, Billy and I, as you may or may not know, we were doing a lot of pickup shots. We were doing, or pickup scenes, really. Sometimes we'd be driving around aimlessly, looking for places that would work for maybe a shot or two, or like, oh, okay, maybe this will work for a sequence, or maybe this will work. But we were spending a lot of time in the car. And at one point, I want to say we were early to a meetup where we were going to shoot some stuff. So the actors that we were going to have in these pickup shots weren't going to be ready yet. Okay. So Billy and I had some time to kill, and we just happened to be in an area. I don't remember the area. I can't tell you the area. I want to say it's like Cleburne, maybe. But anyway, we were in this town, and he says, I know of a place where we can go look in, retro video game store. And I said, all right, let's go. I mean, we're not doing anything anyway. Okay. So we get in there, and it's a nice store. It actually kind of reminds me of of Blockbuster, but with shelves that are like 8 foot, 9 foot tall, like really, really tall shelves, but the same sort of shelving, and you've got, these big long aisles with a separator in between, like a hallway that goes to the register, but then the shelf continues, if you know what I mean. So these big long shelves, and they're kind of see-through. So like if somebody's, like if you're at the register, if you're working there, and you can see the hallway, but then you can see all the shelves, and you can see through the shelves to look at people or whatever. Okay? So we're in there, we're looking around, and there's people in there. There's customers everywhere. Okay? Billy lets out this fart that is so loud that I was like, oh my God, like, dude, are you okay? And he starts laughing, I'm laughing, and we're kind of walking away. And I'm like, dude, there's nowhere to hide in this place. And there's like a lady there. There's people walking. And here's the thing. I don't know about you, but I'm the kind of guy that I'm a timid farter, I guess, you know what I mean? Just I'm not this guy that will just let it go, I kind of like to, maybe squeak it out, and just let it do its thing, but kind of, you're kind of what do you call it? You're controlling how violent it is. Okay? You know, Billy had no restraint. There was no like it was like okay, I'll just say this. There's a complete difference between the way that you fart in church versus if you're home alone and you're sitting there watching TV by yourself, legs are propped up. You just let it go, right? You don't care. Nobody's around to to judge you. You just do it. That's what he did. It's restraint. Yes. Restraint. There was no restraint. It was like he was the only person in the whole place. And I'm laughing so hard at but trying to be quiet because I know like there's everybody knows that one of us did it. And so we leave, right? And he starts immediately he starts like actually laughing. And then we get in the truck and I said, dude, it's the lack of restraint. It's the complete, just utter, like, I'm just going to let this go. And I don't care. and seriously, we laughed. I don't know how. It's one of those things where you could say, oh, we laughed for 10 minutes. I'm sure it wasn't 10 minutes, but we laughed a lot because it's just, there was no restraint whatsoever. I've never been with a person that has ever done that in my life. I've never. And it was embarrassing, but hilarious. And I know that he just didn't give a crap. And there's that one of those things where for me, I'm like, I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do that. It's not like, you're going to see those people again and they're not going to remember. They'll probably have a story later. Like, you should have heard this guy just completely rip ass in the middle of his store, which is hilarious. But I don't think that way. I just don't. If I feel a fart coming on, I'm kind of holding on to it a little bit. And I'm letting things go as I get some freedom. You know what I mean? I'm not just, screw it. I'm just going to fart like insane fart right now. Yeah, no shame. It was so funny. It was so funny. We laughed for a very, very long time. And it's one of those things that completely sticks out to me. From all of those times when we were out shooting some of these things, the pickup shots or whatever, or trying to find locations, whatever, it's one of my favorite single happenings was the fact that he didn't care. and it was so freaking funny. And yeah, he didn't crap himself. I have a hard enough time just peeing in a public bathroom. See, here's a weird thing. That I have no problem with. I really don't. But for a long time, like if I had to, do the number 2, I was like, I need to do this. I need to do this, but I'm also restrained, right? Especially if there's somebody in there. I'm like, let's restrain it. And let's not, just complete, you know what I'm talking about? I just don't do that. Now that I'm Crohn's boy, I don't give a crap anymore. I just don't care. But the thing is, you have to understand something. Do you like that? I hope you like that. The weird thing is now, because I don't have, and this is just, hey, I'm letting you in. I'm letting you into Rob's world here, okay? Because I don't have a colon, it smells worse. Like really bad. Like there are times when I'm like, oh my God. Bringing the tears to the eyes because it's like, that is awful. It's awful, guys. And one of the funniest stories that I have is I was in Boston and we were walking around, and it was like There's nothing I can do. I gotta go. You know, Crohn's boy, you're talking sometimes 3-4 times a day. I've got to go. All right. So yeah, I gotta go. There's nothing I can do about it. I gotta go. And that's why I don't care anymore. You know, because I gotta go. There's nothing I can do. I went into this restroom and all I hear is people with, coming in and out with Boston accents, just marveling at how awful it smells in there. And I wish I could remember. What I should have done is I should have recorded, just the audio of these people like with shock and horror in this bathroom. Because I mean, like I said, there's nothing I can do about it. It's a thing. So, yeah. The stories like that. Have you seen this video from last week? But for reals, I mean, in a little bit. But anyway, yeah. So I just say, hey, screw it. Be like Billy. Just let it go, man. It's a natural thing. We all do it. Why do we have to worry about it? Let's just do it. Going to Disney World kind of helped my fear of using public restrooms. I didn't have a choice down there. Number 2, in public, I don't care. In other people's homes, I restrain like mofo. Yeah. And see, that I understand. I understand that too. And especially this guy. But again, if it's... what a powerful smell. No, it was like, let's see, Boston accent. Yeah. Like, trying to think. I just heard a lot of like, holy shit, I mean, it was bad. Okay. It's the thing. I can't do anything about it. There's nothing I can do about it. Nothing I can do. Yeah. The Departed. Right. Have you ever been in the bathroom after someone's taken a weed dump? It's bad. No, I haven't. I mean, I might have, but it's just a thing. It's just a thing that we just, you just kind of have to deal with. But I thought, again, I think we should all just be like Billy. We should all just be like Billy. And then, hey, shut up. Anyway, there you go. Let's see. Unfortunately, I don't have crap does smell. People shouldn't be surprised. Yeah, but man, I'm telling you, if you've had any section of your intestines removed, everything is intensified. Seriously. And it's just is, because there's less putting together, you know what I mean? I don't know everything that intestines do, but since I have I think it's 90% of my intestines are gone, there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, that's the way it is. And see, most people will tell you, oh yeah, some people will, I poop every 2 days. Some people, once a day or twice a day. Yeah, I'm 3 or 4 times a day regularly. So that's just the way it is. I wish I could do a good Boston accent, but I really can't. But it was funny. I got to take out my intestines. Not sure what you mean there, Callum. In fact, I'm a little confused and maybe a little bit scared. But there you go. Now, I wish Leon was here because we have a little thing that I like to call, have you seen this? Hello, we're going to battle, and I'm going to take this sword and put it into an orc's face, and that's how it will go. Yes, it's time. I don't know. It's time for Have You Seen This? And there are some, do you like that, by the way, that Have You Seen This? I think it looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty good. Cool Photoshop. Yeah. Here, let's look at this for a second. That is not my nose. Those are my eyes. And of course, that's my mouth. But that's Thranduil from The Hobbit. So let me see. Do I even have that picture? Yeah, I do. So here's the picture. But yeah, I mean, it took about 10 minutes. It took about 10 minutes to do that. And I'm like, wow, this actually looks pretty damn good. I'm actually, like I said, have you seen this is usually just a way for me to just play around with Photoshop, let's do a quick thing, but yeah, it actually turned out really well. I was kind of crazy. That elf's hair is almost as sexy as Rob's real hair. I mean, I don't know about that. My hair's not that sexy. I mean, come on, flowing in the wind and it's long. It's very long. But anyway, I just thought it was kind of cool. But yeah, the reason I say I wish Leon was here because I think he would like at least a couple of these. Like this one here, I think he would really like. This one is I don't know, I got a kick out of it.
Okay.
I just thought that was cute, okay? I'm just going to say it. I think it's cute. Now this one cracked me up. So Rhino surprises a sleeping doggy, okay? Now let me pull this back here. There we go. Now watch this. Watch this one. Now, why a rhino is just walking around here, I don't know. But here's a couple of things to watch. Okay? Watch how the dog starts running as he starts to bark. He's like, "Oh my god." And he's also running. Okay? But then watch the rhino, the slightest of jumps. The slightest. He doesn't care. Watch this again. Watch it again. I mean, it's pretty funny. Yeah, from a dead sleep, hell yeah, I'd be scared. Hell yeah. Now this one is just let me see. Yeah, this one is just a cool one. This one is just a cool thing here. I just thought this was neat. So it's basically showing some photography type stuff. So yeah, just watch. Just watch this. There's no audio, I don't think. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really freaking cool. I don't know how to do that stuff. And I'm guessing he has to Photoshop himself out of it. Right? But that is super freaking cool. I just think that's neat. I think that's neat. I forgot the name of that technique. Well, yeah, you're basically you're leaving the shutter open, right? High exposure, but you're leaving the shutter open for a specific amount of time. I don't know how he gets that one where it's like I said, I don't know. And that's one of those things where if I'm going to be, I want to be one of those people that if I'm going to make a movie and somebody says, "Hey, we're going to be shooting at this f-stop with this millimeter lens," all that kind of stuff, I want to know what the hell they're talking about. I don't freaking know. Okay? I don't know any of that stuff. I mean, all I know, like seriously, when I set up my camera, I try to set it up to where I like that the stuff in the background is out of focus. I like that it will focus on things. I love depth of field. This has enough depth of field for me. I know that term where the stuff in the background is slightly out of focus. That's all I know. That's really all I know. I just know what I like when I see it, which is not the best way to, I would think, to film a movie. You know what I mean? But anyway, and last but not least, this is very simple. I just thought this was funny. He very distinctly said, "to blave." I just thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. It was funny. Princess Bride, guys, come on. So anyway, that was have you seen this? All must follow me to the thing where we go forward and kill orcs and things. So yes. Okay then. I'm happy that you saw those things. There you go. I'm the one who showed them how to do those photos. Really? You're the man, huh? Well, that's pretty awesome. I like it. No slave one. Slave one. Wraith, I'm not sure what you're talking about. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, man? I like it when the elves show me those things. Right? You know, the elves are, you know, I should probably have come up with. Here's the thing. I finished that Photoshop literally 5 minutes before I went live. So I didn't have time. It took me, like, seriously, about 10 minutes. I was like, let's just see if this will work. Let me see if I can get rid of, because I mean, I have blemishes and things, right? I thought, let's just try to get in the right pose, right? Just take my eyes and maybe my nose, which the nose didn't work, and then my mouth and all that, and let's just see. And it worked out pretty well. It looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cool. Not bad for 10 minutes worth of work. You would have had a plate with that name. Gotcha. Yes. Well, don't you need a I mean, that color, with the maroon and the green, you know? Like, oops, I'm on the, what am I on? See, I think you need a car that's this color, right? Or similar to this color, right? I mean, if you had a car that color, I mean, it's a no-brainer, you know? But you've got to get that like that maroon there, and the green, and even some of the gray there. They have Lego Slave 1? Oh, yeah. They've had Lego Slave 1 forever. In fact, this is the one that I have. Well, my fat head's in the way. What is this? Okay. Wow, that's bright. Continue. Just necessary. Get out of here. So this is the one that I have, the retired. You can't buy this anymore except like on eBay and stuff. But yeah, this is the collector's whatever. In fact, I put this together. I'm trying to remember when I put it together. I think I was still sick. I think I was still at home when I put this together. But it's awesome. It's up there. It's huge. It's huge. But yeah. This thing, man. Whatever. I might just take these off. These stupid foot guards on my damn thing. Magnus, would I build a ship in a bottle? Yes. Yes, I would. Or you mean a Lego ship in a bottle? If that's what you mean, I mean, sure, why not? A regular ship in a bottle? I mean, maybe. See, you joke. And you say, well, there's not a Lego ship in a bottle. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. But a regular ship in a bottle? Yes, I would. I mean, sure. Why not? Hot take, Django Slave 1 looked better. I mean, you're not wrong. I like it. Jabba's sail barge. Let me see. Jabba's sail barge. I know that they did, yeah, they did a couple of different ones, but never one of the collector's editions. Like this is a smaller, see, that's only 761 pieces. That's 850 pieces. I mean, it looks pretty cool though. I'm not going to lie. It looks pretty cool. Oh, that's like a fan made one. And it's weird. Some of the older Lego models or Lego releases, they just don't look as good. They're very blocky. But will there be a second season of Andor? Yes, there will be. Yes, there will be. In fact, another hot take, Django is cooler than Boba. I mean, yeah. One of those model ships you build with hand tools. I would love to. I just don't think I have the patience for something like that. I've never been good at building models. I always lose interest. And I think it's because I have ADHD. I've never been diagnosed with it, but I'm pretty sure I do have at least elements of it. You know what I mean? Because like I said, the whole idea of reading a book with an audiobook always felt to me really strange and almost cheating. But then there were times when I couldn't get through a book because I would just lose interest. But the audiobook helps me keep locked in. And somebody in one of the Reddit threads said, hey, if you have ADHD, try reading the audiobook along with the book. It helps me stay locked in. And I'm like, oh, holy crap. So anyway, yeah. I want that Lego Max Rebo. I mean, come on. Who doesn't? Max Rebo is pretty awesome. I hated building those ones in the bottle. I just ended up saying screw it, then built it outside instead. Did you see the regular barge? It's amazing. What regular barge? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I break models while building them. I suck at putting Gundam together, but I do like them. The non-Lego. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude, yeah. It really is an impressive. It is so cool. It's such a cool design. And looks. I mean, you think, like, what would Jabba's. I don't know, man. It's so perfect. It's so perfect. Wow. Wow. That's very cool. How much is it? I'm afraid to ask. I mean, $500. And that's the Kenner. Is this like a... I'm assuming that like this is like... I mean, that looks almost to scale. But it looks like some sort of special thing. And it says, only 5,000 were needed for the project to get the green light, but participants had to lay down a whopping $500 to get their own vintage collection Jabba sail barge, aka the Katana. I did not even know that was a thing. But very, very cool. I don't know what I'm looking at. Man, look at that. Very, very cool. I'm telling you, that has some of my favorite scenes in all of them. $500, buy 4 of them. Well, and that's back then. I don't even know. I wonder if eBay has any Jabba sail barge. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a diorama. That's not the same thing. Okay. So the Kenner Lab, HasLab, right? Yeah. 1500, 1200, 1450. There's Lego ones, but yeah. Not exactly cheap. Not exactly cheap. It would look awesome in your room. There's a lot of things that would look awesome in here. But the problem is, there's two doors here. There's nothing I can, I mean, the only thing I really have room to do is this right here. And I don't know, I kind of like the way things look right now. I feel like there should be more Star Wars. You got Yoda, you got Stormtrooper. This is all Tolkien here. And then this is all Tolkien right here. There's some other books down here that you can't really see. There's my Blade Runner. You can just kind of see Harrison Ford right there. My Blade Runner Laserdisc. And then I've got some more books here. And then you can't see the rest of it. So it's like, hey, welcome back, you porny guys. I don't even understand it, man. I don't. I've also reported them. Price hurts my bum. Yeah. So let's get into this. I know it's been an hour and 15 minutes. A Tokyo court orders Fast Movies to pay $3.5 million in damages. So this is the news here. This is some of the news. Now, here's the thing. Fast Movies, I don't know if you've heard of this. I had not heard of it until I saw this. These are fan edits. And what they do is they take movies and they edit them down and put them on YouTube. So this is kind of different than the way that something like fanedit.org does it. Or, I mean, any regular fan editor. But here's the thing. I'm sitting here looking at what they're saying. And all of these are Japanese companies that have done this thing where they, you have to pay $3.5 million to a bunch of different studios. But it starts to make me think, are fan edits not going to be a thing anymore? So my whole thing was, the way that I looked at it is that I can justify it for myself because I own these movies. Any fan edit that I've watched, I own the movie. I own it. And I mean, you own the movie. You own a copy of the movie. I own it on DVD or Blu-ray or 4K Blu-ray. I have no problem watching someone's fan edit of that stuff, especially for something like Star Wars, where I've bought it so many different times on so many different formats. I have no problem downloading a re-edited version of whatever. I don't know. But Fast Movies, again, 3.5 Fast are $1 billion movies, so that's pocket change. Oh, okay, never mind. No, not Fast and the Furious. We're talking this YouTube channel called Fast Movies. And the thing is, they take some of these movies. It actually got me kind of interested in wanting to watch some of these. But they take some of these really interesting movies that just never got, some interesting sci-fi concept or something like that. And they shorten it down to where you can it's almost like a Cliff Notes version of the movie. So it's a weird thing though. Here we go again. Jeez, man. They're crazy. A salacious crumb hanging from the ceiling? That would be cool. But yeah, I don't know what to think about this, because I feel like in a lot of ways, American movies or American movie studios haven't really done anything like this. Fan edits have been traveling around, especially Star Wars ones, mean, really, that's how things got started, is with, with some of these the Phantom edit and stuff like that. These have been around for many, many years. I know Lucasfilm knows about it, and they've never gone after them. So, and none of the major studios have gone after these guys, because what they're basically doing is they're taking something that's a finished product, that's somebody's work, they're chopping it up to their own liking, and then they're putting it out on a site, and a lot of them are their own site, and sometimes they get taken down. I've seen one of the ones, I think for a while there, one of the biggest fan edits that I reviewed was for a version of The Hobbit called M4. M4 was the editor, and I think M4's site at one point got taken down, and since then it's popped back up. So I don't know if maybe he, that's part of the thing too, is that you have to pay for the server space, right, to put out something like a movie, right? I mean, you can get Google, what do you call it? Google Drive and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, especially if something takes off, it costs you money. It's going to cost you money to be able to distribute this thing. That's where things really get foggy, is in the distribution of it. And when people start getting paid, that's even a bigger problem. So, I don't know. I'd say it's more of a Japan company issue. Just try to avoid putting Japanese footage in videos, and you should be good. I don't think it's the footage it's not so much the footage. It's the fact that their biggest problem with it is that people are now not buying the movies. They're not watching the movies. They're just watching the shortened versions, actually replacing the original movie. And in a lot of cases, that's what people have said about The Hobbit. A lot of the ones that I've done, I've seen comments where people have said, this is completely replaced. I love this one fan edit, whichever one. I've done a bunch of them. I've done these fan edits or I've watched these fan edits, and these are my favorites out of all the ones that I've seen, and they've completely replaced the originals for me. Now, that's okay for people that have already purchased it. In this case, nobody's purchased these movies. The companies are not getting anything. And then there's it started this whole debate of, well, you know what? These people probably wouldn't be watching these movies in the first place. And these are actually doing a good job of promoting the movie to an audience that wasn't aware of that anyway. There's so many different facets to this. The way that I look at it is, it's tough for me to justify doing a fan edit now, simply because it's, no matter how you look at it, distributing it is against the law. It just is. I mean, we can sit here all day long and try to rationalize it. Oh, I wouldn't have watched that movie anyway. Oh, I own 24 copies of the movie anyway. The problem is there's a lot of people that are downloading fan edits that don't own the original movies. And that's a very, very tough thing. I really wish studios would almost embrace them, because I think they're fun, and they get people talking about the movie, which is always good. They copyright claimed a YouTuber for anime thumbnails. Japan is very strict. Oh, for sure. I know that. And in fact, Daniel Green, he's a booktuber, right? He recently got a copyright claim, I guess, for showing pictures of the comic that he was reviewing. I think he was reviewing Berserk. And I think he put pictures of it on the video, and they copyright claimed him. So yeah. Topher Grace better watch his back. Yeah. I don't think he's gonna have a problem. Because I don't even know if you can get his edit, but I would like to see his edits for sure. I mean, yeah, I would. I'm closing some of these. I've got so many tabs open. There we go. Yeah, I would love to see that. What is going on here? Why? There we go. I would love to see his edit because I've heard it's really, really good. Um, but it's such a weird thing, and I don't. There's a part of me that's like, do I even want to do reviews of fan edits anymore? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to, because what happens is eventually, these reviews go out and people see them and they ask, where can I see them? And if I give them the answer, does that make me culpable for anything? Excuse me, I don't even know. But you know what? Hold on. I'm going to take a vape break. All right. Sorry. I didn't vape at all. I was ready for one. Rob's in flavor country now. Yeah, see this one, man, I got to tell you. I'm a little bummed out. I have like 5 or 6 setups right now, and only 2 of them have a flavor that I like. This one isn't great. The only reason I'm vaping this one in here is because it's a single coil. It puts out less vapor. But it doesn't taste great. It's supposed to be cherry cheesecake, and the cheesecake portion of the flavor is pretty good, but the cherry portion, it tastes kind of like medicine. Almost like Robitussin. And it's not very good. It's not very good. I think pirated content is against YouTube's terms of service, but I don't know how strict they are about it. Well, see, that's the thing. I hated that as a kid, right? And that's why I can't. I'm gonna have to. I think I've showed you the box O crap liquid. They're either terrible flavors or they're, experimentations of mine where they just didn't go right and it tastes like crap. I got to get rid of all this stuff and I don't know how to get rid of it because you're not supposed to pour it down the drain because it's got nicotine in it. I just don't know what to do. I mean, the theory is you take kitty litter, you put it in a Ziploc bag and you pour some in there and then the kitty litter absorbs it and nobody's going to, it kind of negates it because it's absorbed into that and nobody's going to eat kitty litter. But I have probably a gallon of liquid over there that I got to get rid of, and I don't know how to. I don't know. I think what I need to do is I need to get a big bottle, like a gallon bottle, and just start pouring all of this stuff in there, and then slowly over time and that'll make it easier. I don't know why I'm telling you this, because you brought up something about liquid. But let's get into this. The biggest news of the week is this. If you hadn't heard about this, Bob Iger was the CEO for a very, very long time. He was the one that bought Pixar. He's the one that bought Star Wars. Under his leadership, Disney enjoyed a lot of success. And when he decided that he was going to retire, Bob Chapek took over. Bob Chapek was the head of a lot of the parks. I think he was the head of the parks, and he became the CEO. And yeah, it didn't go over well. Over the last 2 years, Bob Chapek has made decisions that have really just he's made some mistakes. I don't know if you remember this, but the Scarlett Johansson thing, where because Black Widow didn't go to theater, well, it was being released at the same time, that this was in breach of Scarlett Johansson's contract. And instead of working with Scarlett Johansson to try to come to an agreement to both parties' satisfaction, they decided to run a smear campaign against Scarlett Johansson. Eventually, Scarlett Johansson was paid what she was deserved, like what she earned. I mean, again, it's not about, the thing is, with that, it doesn't matter how much you are eventually paid. what matters is that you got it in a contract. And the fact is Disney breached that contract by releasing the movie day and date on digital. So they ended up writing a fat check to Scarlett Johansson. No telling how much it was. I don't know how much it was, but that's just one piece of the pie here, or one piece of the problem. The problem is that Bob Chapek has routinely added management levels into the executive whatever at Disney, which means that it muddies up the waters. Bob Iger was always big on creatives. Bob Chapek has not been. Bob Chapek has put in people that are bankers and some of his friends into really, really lucrative positions. And on Sunday night, the news broke that Disney basically just removed Bob Chapek, and Bob Iger is now back as CEO, which is really kind of crazy. Yeah. And a lot of things, I know a lot of people just don't care about the business side of movies, but for me, this is really nuts. It even says here, just at the top, while some directors were looking to fire Chapek, board of directors were looking to fire Chapek as early as June, Chair Susan Arnold was reluctant to pull the trigger. Now, even those cheering the move call Chapek's dismissal brutal. No statement from him, no comment from him, no grace. It's effing insane. So basically, what it seems like is that they came in at he was supposed to be like speaking at, or like introducing Elton John at a concert, and a bunch of the Disney executives were at this concert, and the news came through, and apparently they locked him out of everything. And it just, I mean, it's just like, okay, bam. So here's the thing. A lot of people are saying that it's possible that there's something that we aren't aware of, because this is not your typical, hey, let's change things at the company. No, this was we got to get in there as quickly as possible and get rid of this guy. So is there going to be some sort of news that comes out about Bob Chapek in the next 6 months to a year, where it's like, yeah, this is why we had to get rid of him? And I think the sad thing, perhaps they found some dirt on him. I mean, who knows? But it's interesting to me, because it's like, in damage control, yeah, there could be so many things that we just don't know about. I mean, we could speculate, but there are so many things that you're just like, I mean, no telling. He's a reptilian. I mean, it could be as simple as we wanted to take the time to do it on a day when nothing else was going on. Let's just get this done. Let's pull the Band-Aid off. Let's move forward. Maybe Bob Iger for a long time was hesitant to come back, and when they finally closed the deal to bring Bob Iger back, they just said, well, let's just do it. Let's do it right now. Bam. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, it's crazy how fast this happened. See, Bob Iger's book is crazy. He flat out said he conned Lucas out of selling Star Wars to Disney. I mean, I kind of want to read his book, just for no other reason but because I find the guy kind of interesting. I mean, he was like the guy, and now he's the guy again. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. The thing that people keep saying too is that, how is it that Bob Iger was in control and was running this ship so well for so long and never thought of who would take his place? It's really weird. Have you seen the pictures of Mark Zuckerberg where people compare him to Randall from Monsters, Inc.? I mean, yeah. Yeah, Zuckerberg's a weird dude too. But the reason that I bring it up is not because I hate Bob Chapek. I don't know anything about Bob Chapek other than I know that he's made some really weird moves. The The one of the biggest ones was, if you remember, almost every Pixar movie except for Lightyear since the pandemic started has gone directly to Disney Plus. No theatrical release. So that's Onward was taken off out of theaters and into Disney Plus immediately. That one I kind of understand because it was in the midst of this pandemic and they were trying to do something, right? But then you had Soul, you had Luca, you had Turning Red. All of these movies, some of them got a day and date release, but like I think Turning Red, I think it was in like 2 theaters and then it was done and it was just on Disney Plus. And you got to know those people at Pixar have got to be mad, you know? It's like, okay, we did all this work and now it's just given away, basically. It's weird, man. It's the news. Got to read those papers and share it, bro. I mean, I think it's interesting, you know? And I think it's kind of scary if you're a Pixar fan, which I mean, Pixar is pretty awesome, right? But you got Pixar, you got Marvel, you got Star Wars. If you're a fan of any of those things, this has got to be like, okay, this could be like dangerous. The biggest thing that people have been saying is what's going to happen to Kathleen Kennedy. Because Kathleen Kennedy, as you know, has been very she's been very successful. Let's not mince words. There you can say, "Oh, I don't like a lot of the stuff that she's helped to bring to light or whatever, right? I don't like the sequel trilogy. I don't like Solo. I don't like Rogue One, or I don't like this. I don't like that. Whatever. You can disagree with some of the things that have come out that she was a part of, but you cannot argue that she wasn't successful. I mean, think about, there's been 5 movies released since she took over at Lucasfilm. 4 of them have made $1 billion. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're looking at. That's successful. Especially from a Disney point of view, that's a successful producer, right? That's a successful head of studio. If 4 of your movies have hit $1 billion. Yeah, 1 lost some money, sure. But 4 of them have hit $1 billion. That's crazy. We're not talking about, again, we're not talking about if they're good or not. But holy crap, 4 movies out of 5 hit $1 billion. That's crazy. Then you've got The Mandalorian. You've got The Book of Boba Fett. You've got Obi-Wan. Now, we can sit here and look at those and say, well, one of those is good and 2 of them are not that good or whatever. The fact is, the numbers have been insane for those shows. Really, really, really good. Andor, to me, is probably the best reviewed Star Wars story. I mean, maybe since like the original trilogy. It's got really, really good reviews. Some people don't like it. Okay, I know some people don't like Andor because it's too slow. Me personally, I love Andor, and I think Andor is seriously probably some of the best Star Wars stories we've seen live action now, because Clone Wars, Rebels, those have been amazing. Okay, to me, those are great stuff. I'm talking about live action here. It's my favorite Star Wars material since the original trilogy. There's nothing that comes close. As crowd pleasing as The Mandalorian could be, it doesn't come close to matching the quality, in my opinion, of Andor. But Andor has the viewership has not been as good. And yeah, somehow Bob Iger returned. Yep. Bug's Life is my favorite Pixar movie. I got the 4K, but I haven't watched it yet. I don't have that in 4. Actually, here's the weird thing. I don't know if you know this. Going back to the 4K talk for just a second. There is a reviewer on YouTube, or I say reviewer. He's more of a one of those guys that's he's really, really big on uh, on TVs and quality, Blu-ray quality, and all that kind of stuff. He has said time and time again that whatever Disney is doing, Disney Plus is doing on their end, the quality of their movies on Disney Plus is actually better than what you get on the 4K Blu-rays, which is shocking to me. Not to mention that like a lot of those movies, especially the Marvel movies, they're IMAX enhanced, right? So they got the extra room, on the top and bottom. So you're actually kind of getting more for your. I mean, it's not a huge thing, but it's one of those things that is. He's said it many times. He said the quality is negligible. The quality difference is negligible, and in a lot of cases, the streaming actually ekes out the Blu-ray as far as quality goes. That's crazy. It's kind of nuts. But anyway. So yeah, I love Andor. I think it's great. We've got what, 5 hours before the finale. I'm super excited to watch it. I haven't done, this is something that we talked about on Saturday. I haven't really thought about what I want from the season finale because everything that I thought might happen in Andor has not happened, or it's happened in such a better way than what I thought that I'm like, there's no point in me even. What's the point? What's the point in me trying to come up with something that's better than what they are? Because man, what they've come up with has been insanely good. Insanely good. So watch Andor if you haven't already. It's a secret. Don't tell anybody. You know what I'm saying? You should watch it. I had to dress as the fat kid from Up at Disney World's stupid Halloween party. I'm sorry, Caleb. I'm sorry. But while we're talking about this whole shakeup at Disney, with regards to how is this going to affect Star Wars? How is this going to affect Lucasfilm in general? Because you've got what you've got coming up at Lucasfilm. You've got, of course, the season finale, which is tonight. You've got Ahsoka. You've got The Acolyte. You've got Mandalorian Season 3 in the pipeline. You've got all of these other movies that are in some sort of something, progress. I don't know. Maybe Taika Waititi's, Damon Lindelof's. They said that Rian Johnson's trilogy is still on. I don't know about that. I mean, if I'm Rian Johnson, I don't care if people like my movie or not. At this point, why would I even go back? Why would I go back to Star Wars? Unless he loves it. In which case, give him a trilogy. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. You know what I'm saying? I would do it. Giving somebody complete creative control. I mean, look at what Andor's done. Andor's awesome. Andor's awesome. But the problem is, again, it seems like a lot of fans, a lot of people don't like Andor because it's too slow. A lot of people are saying it doesn't even feel like Star Wars. And I feel like, I don't get that. I feel like to me, Andor is in line with some of the interesting stuff, like in episode 4, when they're sitting at that table and the different Moffs are kind of arguing and stuff. That's interesting stuff. Yeah, there's no blasters and explosions and lightsabers, but it's still like interesting stuff. It's story building. And I feel like Andor is doing a great job of building out what the Empire really was about. You know, we've never seen what the Empire really does to the normal everyday people, how they're so oppressive, and then how the rebellion got started, having to put aside your own morals to fight this evil empire. That's awesome stuff. Ted Millage, what's going on? I don't know. You think, Carbonite, you think Bob Iger wants to kill off Star Wars for good? See, here's the thing. As much as I appreciate and can like objectively look at what Bob Iger's done and go, wow, that's impressive. There are things that he did with Star Wars that I have to say, man, I'm worried a little bit. He's the one that said, hey, we gotta get this trilogy out. 7, 8, 9. Let's go. Let's make our money back as quick as possible. Bill Iger is his twin brother. Iger and Kennedy weren't getting along when he left. Yeah. But see, like, we can sit here, and this is the thing that I have to keep reminding not only everyone else, but myself as well, is that whenever I think about the problems at Lucasfilm or the problems with Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy is only one piece of that puzzle. And the fact that Bob Iger knew so much about Star Wars, I'm telling you that interview I saw with him was super illuminating to me, because I'm like, okay, this guy is really tuned into this. I think, again, my opinion, I think in a lot of cases, Bob Iger was looking over and going, no, we do this. See, Ted, you say you blame the story group, but here's the thing. In that interview, he says for The Mandalorian was so important to the launch of Disney Plus because it was the big launch product, right? For Disney Plus. He made notes on each of the episodes. And then after they put those notes in action, he rewatched them to make sure that all of his notes were taken into account. Bob Iger was all over this stuff. So in a lot of places, in a lot of ways, I feel like people have looked at Kathleen Kennedy. They look at, for example, they look at that famous photo, A Force for Change, right? They look at that photo and they go, she's the one to blame. I don't like it that you're basically, it seems like you're forcing an agenda. In a way, that's her own fault. You know what I mean? I feel like you wear a shirt that says the Force is female to get a reaction, you know? But at the same time, I feel like a lot of people have just looked at her and pinpointed her as the enemy. Anything wrong with Star Wars, it's her fault. But then don't give her credit for the same amount of thing. I mean, she has the same amount of pull, the same amount of interaction, the same amount of finagling, if you want to call it that, on all the stuff that you like too. So it's one of those things that I've always had to struggle with. And then again, as I've said before, there's a reason why I'm talking about this, by the way. All of this before, I've said that I feel like Kennedy is just one piece of the puzzle. And that you can't, if you want to blame somebody for the rise of Skywalker, for the firing of Colin Trevorrow, you know, who was in pre-production, had scale models built, or not scale models, but models built of some of the designs that he had come up with, all of the artwork that was done for that movie, and the finished script. And they said, no, because of all of this backlash from The Last Jedi, let's go in a different direction. And they bring back J.J. Abrams. Who was the final word on that? I don't know. Was it Kathleen Kennedy or was it Bob Iger? I don't know. It's a weird situation because there are so many, and I've tried to explain this before, that I think a lot of people don't understand what a producer does. What Kathleen Kennedy as a producer did for Steven Spielberg for so long, and for many other, you know, she worked with David Fincher. She worked with, I can't remember the director of Seabiscuit. But I mean, she's done like some amazing movies over her career. And as the head of the studio, She is now in place as the studio executive for this studio. And it's her job to cultivate talent. And it's also her job to be the ones talking to the studio and saying, hey, this is what we're doing, and trying to insulate the directors so that they can be creative. Okay? Right? I heard Trevorrow quit because they killed off Snoke and he no longer had his villain for episode 9. No. Trevorrow's script actually leaked onto the internet, probably by Colin Trevorrow. And he had taken what that's the whole thing. The reason that he was fired is because he took everything that The Last Jedi had done, and like any normal human being on the planet, if you're trying to make a trilogy and trying to make it cohesive, he built off of the things that happened in episode 8 for episode 9. I'm telling you, it's out there. You can read it, and there's some interesting stuff in there. Some really, really interesting stuff. In fact, somebody did a full comic, like a full graphic novel. They basically made a graphic novel out of it. It's interesting stuff. Now, I'm not saying that it would have made a better movie. There were some things in there that I thought were kind of weird. But at the very least, it was building off of the story elements in The Last Jedi. And if you watch The Rise of Skywalker with it in mind, of all of those, see, I remember because I was reading these Reddit threads. I was reading everybody's complaints about The Last Jedi and how it was, oh my God, it's the worst thing ever. And Luke did this, and I can't believe that they just got rid of their main villain. It looks like they took all of these Reddit threads into account and made a checklist of, okay, this is what I want. We need a new Snoke. What do we do? Oh, let's bring back their Emperor. What we need a new, you know what I mean? It's like they read all those Reddit threads and made a checklist of what they tried to do in the movie, or what they should do for episode 9. And then some guy, what's his name? Chris Terrio, came in and took those ideas and tried to make a cohesive script out of it, and then sits back like it's the best thing ever. And it's dog shit. I'm just saying it. I think that script is terrible. There's some great ideas in it. And I've even said this before. If you watch the making of, like on the 4K Blu-ray, right? If you watch the special features, if you watch the making of episode 9, I so wish that I could watch the movie that they were trying to make. Because those people are throwing everything into it. It sucks so bad that movie turned out so bad. Because those people worked incredibly hard on it. And I can even see that JJ's working hard on it. And here's the thing. I know a lot of people, Buccio included, doesn't like JJ Abrams. But he even, after the movie came out, was angry that they cut out stuff that he put in there. This was a studio-led movie from the get-go. And it's all because of somebody taking all of these fan complaints into account instead of writing a story. Guess what? Here's the thing that I don't understand. It's like, does nobody have like access to the internet? If you can go back, you can actually read Usenet. Remember Usenet news groups? People were complaining about The Empire Strikes Back, saying it broke this and it did this, blah, 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 blah. Complaining about it. I guarantee you, if things had moved and Empire came out today, people would have ripped that movie apart. It's nothing like the first movie. It feels so different. Why are they doing this? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, it couldn't be as bad as it was for The Last Jedi, but people were complaining. So I don't understand why you wouldn't say, okay, here's my creative people. These are the people that we're paying to write this stuff, to make a story. But we're not going to allow them to tell the story. We're going to come in and we're going to change all these things. Films made by committee, exactly. But it's one of those things that as a Star Wars fan, it was disheartening because I could see it. I could see it on screen. The minute that you hear that the Emperor is back, It's like, but that negates Anakin's whole thing, his whole story. It negates it because the Emperor survived. It's so irritating. But I've gone on record as saying that I'm not a fan of The Rise of Skywalker. I am a fan of the people that made that movie, though, because they made a beautiful movie. Technically, that movie is almost flawless. It's just the story. The story lets everything down. And, yeah. And I know, like Ted, yeah, not a fan of J.J. Abrams. Look, he doesn't have the best track record. But I will tell you that in a lot of ways, I could see that there was something there. And they even said that they were changing things all the way up into in that last month before release. They were still changing things. That they had Kylo Ren. They had Adam Driver recording lines in his own closet, redubbing lines. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. So, again, was this all the Kathleen Kennedy's doing? Or was it Iger? Seeing what I saw, it made me think this has Bob Iger written all over it. Because, again, remember, Kathleen Kennedy came out before and said, we think The Last Jedi is going to be a hit. Now, of course, it wasn't. But why would you say that and then immediately turn around and fire the next guy? Now, I will also say Colin Trevorrow had a movie come out that was very controversial and a lot of people said was just a bad film. I never saw it. Maybe that has something to do with it too. But look, the thing is, you can pretty much agree, I think most people can agree, that The Rise of Skywalker was written in a way that was trying to negate some of the things that happened in episode 8. That is not how you write a cohesive trilogy. And that is all studio mandated. It comes from the studio executives. Now, is that Kathleen Kennedy or is that Bob Iger? I've given my reasoning why I think in a lot of ways Kathleen Kennedy was the studio executive in between, the person that's trying to insulate the creative people. Because that's what she's done her entire career. Her entire career is based on that. As a producer, that's your job, to make things happen. And when things go wrong, you have to go to the studio and say, hey, this is how we're doing. You have to be the cheerleader. This is how we're doing. This is how things are going. But we really need a bit more money to finish this thing. And the producer is the one that makes everything happen. I don't see her doing what she did for episode 9. I just don't see it. I could be completely wrong. But all of the problems that people keep pointing at, it's more than just one person. Okay? If you want to blame Kathleen Kennedy, that is completely your prerogative. But there's a lot of people at Lucasfilm and there's a lot of people at Disney that had more to do with that than what whatever problem you have. If you're mad at her for wearing a Forces Female shirt, okay, fine. But that doesn't mean that she's the only one to blame. You get what I mean? I hope that makes sense. Now, let me go back a little bit because I went on a kind of a rant there. Got to be honest, Ryan Johnson is the only hope I have for Star Wars. I may get back into it when his movies come out because I know it won't touch the Skywalkers in current canon most likely. Well, true. But I just don't see it happening. Like, I'm just thinking about it. Like, if I was Ryan Johnson, I've got Knives Out 2, Glass Onion coming out. A lot of reviews have come out and said that it's fantastic. It's just as good as the first one, if not better. It's funny. It speaks to like this kind of old style Hollywood. He's basically got a brand new franchise that he's created and that he's in charge of. Why would you walk away from that kind of unlimited creativity when you're working with Star Wars, you're working inside a confined space? Now, this may be a very, very large space because you're working in something outside of the Skywalkers, but you're still working in the confines of Star Wars. Why would you limit yourself creatively? Unless you just want to. In which case, go for it. I just don't know. One of my biggest problems with Star Wars isn't actually, y'all know I'm not a Disney Star Wars fan, isn't actually just the writing. I'm tired of the Empire and Rebellion. I just want to go far away from that. Well, and that's the thing. And I think in a lot of ways, that's what Andor, even though it is dealing with the Rebellion and the Empire, it's dealing with it in a way that we've never seen before. And, oh man, it's just done so well. I want a completely different story and setting with no mention of the current stories and characters in a different time period. Yeah. Release the Trevorrow cut. Yeah, nothing got filmed. That's the problem. Rise of Skywalker, much worse than The Last Jedi. Wait, are you saying it's much worse than The Last Jedi? Because I agree with that. But see, what the Rise of Skywalker did is all of the but maybe thing that I had for The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi completely just got thrown away. And it was like, well, then what's the point? What's the point? It's almost like they're just looking at, well, just watch The Rise of Skywalker. No, it doesn't make any sense. And there's so many bad things in that movie. So many bad things. Can I interest you in a sitcom based around Dexter Jettster's Diner? I would love that. I love Clone Wars era. I do. You can bring balance to the Force like I once did. Mother effer, you telling me there are two chosen ones? Yeah. I was in JJ We Trust guy. I didn't know. Yeah, and for me, I thought it was because maybe the story wasn't good. And I knew that JJ had the I mean, who knew? Who knew that we were going to get basically a retelling of episode 8 or at least a rewind, and then lines that completely negate a lot of what episode 8 was. It just irritates me. When JJ makes a movie, he's the only one that makes any money. Nothing that has come out from Disney in the last 3 years was greenlit by Chapek. True. But there's a lot of weird stuff there. And that's the thing. Like, I hate the fact that, again, as I said, 4 out of 5 movies made $1 billion for Star Wars. And yet, let's put Star Wars on the back burner. Nah, let's not worry about movies for Star Wars. 4 out of 5 made $1 billion. What are you doing? What? You're basically printing money. As long as you make it somewhat good, people will come see it. I don't know. I blame the wiki. Weird Iger left during the pandemic and comes writing in to save the day. There's a lot of weird things going on. Yep. Dave Bautista in Knives Out 2. Man, I think Dave's Knives Out 2. By the way, excuse me, starting tomorrow is the week where Knives Out 2 or Glass Onion is going to be playing in theaters. I'm going to go try to watch it because I think it'll be good. And, it'll be a fun review to do too, because it's something that not everybody's going to see. Star Wars 7 and 9 is like how there's Goat Simulator and Goat Simulator 3, but not a Goat Simulator 2. That's a weird comparison, but accurate. Yeah. You'd be more interested in movies than I am with TV shows. See, like, to me, I really enjoy the shows simply because I feel like in a lot of ways the movies are kind of episodic in nature. So in a lot of ways, I feel like that's I think it's smart to do it that way, but I get what you're saying. I hear Billy will make a mystery movie on who farted in the living room during a party. It's called Chodes Out. Oh, Wraith. But look, let me get back to this because there is one more news item to talk about. And that is that with Kathleen Kennedy, a lot of people were saying that, in a lot of ways, Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy were friendly with each other, and that Iger would protect Kennedy. But this happened today. Disney plans to remove Star Wars boss Kathleen Kennedy. This is a rumor now, okay? But I want to talk about it because it was on the John Campea show today. And this is all from John Campea. Okay? So, here we go. This is what he said. Campea revealed on his live show that his sources have indicated that Kathleen Kennedy will be removed as the president of Lucasfilm, either before the release of Indiana Jones 5 or shortly after. This is what I've heard. I've heard that the decision to remove Kathy Kennedy has already been made and that she will be gone either sometime before or very, very, very shortly thereafter the release of Indiana Jones 5. Now, I want to be very, very clear here. I cannot independently say to you and confirm to you that this is a fact. I will say that one of the two people that have contacted me has a 1,000% average on the things they've informed me of. So, this is looking like, I had a lot of people write in and ask, now that Iger's back, do you think that means Kathy Kennedy's gone? And I had a lot of people write that to me on social media in the comments, writing to me directly asking about that. And my response to that was, well, no. If anything, it's the opposite. Bob Iger has traditionally been a Kathleen Kennedy ally, and with Bob Iger coming back, I have a feeling that that will entrench her even more, and she will probably stay out to the end of her contract. I mean, I've said for a while, I don't think she lasts beyond the end of this new contract she's got. I think she's out either by or shortly after 2025. I do think she needs to move on. I've said that for a long time, but I said, I think Iger coming back only more entrenches her there. Then he says, sometimes I will say something on a show. Oh, well, he's basically saying there's been times when he's said something that somebody's told him, and then somebody will contact him later that night and go, yeah, you're wrong. I will tell you this. Last night, in the last 14 hours, I got an email from somebody very connected. And then this morning, I got a phone call from somebody even more connected that got in touch with me. Two separate people, completely independent of each other, that got a hold of me and said, oh, John, Kathleen Kennedy's going to be more, you saying Kathleen Kennedy's going to be entrenched, that Iger's in. I'm like, yep. And they said, you're wrong. So basically, I mean, who knows? There's probably so much going on over at Disney. And the fact that yesterday, Sunday, the news broke, right? That Bob Iger was back in. Their stock rose on Monday. Disney's stock rose like 6% or something. And then it dropped again on Tuesday. Why would it drop? A lot of people are saying this is really, really bad for the company. If they had to go back, there's nobody in the company that can do Bob Iger's job the way Bob Iger did it. So they find that as far as like, people who are looking at, putting their money into something, you know what I mean? Buying stocks or whatever. They look at that and they say, well, that is really, there's a lot of trouble here. There's some tumult going on over at Disney. We don't like that. So they're pulling their money back out. So it's a weird thing. Now, I want to talk about a couple things. Like I said, who knows what's going to happen? Okay. The people that contacted John Campea and let him know this, they could be wrong. But I mean, who knows? Who knows? And if this is true, I think what irritates me about this is that it gives power to these assholes again. I'm just gonna call it like it is. You're the reason we got Rise of Skywalker. And because people have been pointing at Kathleen Kennedy saying she's the devil for years, even though I've tried to make a case that Kathleen Kennedy, wherever she lies on this scale of evil that you think she's on, she's not the only reason why some shows have been more successful than others. You can't, and plus the logic, the jumping through hoops that you say, oh, I hated The Last Jedi, it's because of Kathleen Kennedy. I love The Mandalorian, but that's because of Favreau and Filoni. She had the same job on both of those. She's producer. And she's the studio head. Who do you think hired Jon Favreau? Who do you think thought, hey, Dave Filoni really knows Star Wars, and he's almost like George Lucas Jr. Why not put the two of them together? She did that. But anyway, I just don't know. I don't know about this. And if it's true, I feel like we're going to get a lot of that. Oh, I told you, finally, they did the thing. Not knowing that the reason might be for something completely different. I think the reasoning for doing it is it's starting fresh. And the fact that there's no movies in the pipeline, like imminently in the pipeline, I think that's a big problem. I will say that. That is a big problem for that they don't have. They keep announcing movies and then pulling and saying, oh no, that one's not going to happen. They've had a bunch of director changes. All of those things are partially her fault. But again, saying that, oh, well, I didn't like this show because it's probably Kathleen Kennedy. Oh, I like this show, but it's because of someone else. I find that to be logically unsound. So everything you like about Star Wars in the Disney era, you have to give her some credit. Everything you dislike about Star Wars, you have to blame a little bit on her. But mostly, like I said, I honestly think that Disney has been more than they've ever done at Marvel. They have been looking over the shoulders of Kathleen Kennedy, and it's been different. Okay? Now see, Ted, let me ask you a question, Ted. You say Indy 5 is going to be a shit show. Why? I mean, seriously. I'm not trying to start anything. I'm literally, what is it? What is it about what you've seen so far, which is a couple of pictures, that you think it's going to be a shit show? That's really all you have to go on. That and a ton of people who hate Kathleen Kennedy. That's really all most people have on Indy 5. I think Phoebe Waller-Bridge isn't that her name? Is that her name? I think she's great. Everything I've seen her in, she's been great. There's nothing that makes me think, oh yeah, this is terrible. Kathleen does give off mommy vibes, if you know what I mean. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean. I've heard that FTX crash may have had something to do with Iger coming back, but I think it was who Chapek was planning on firing. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of that. Just the rumors I've heard that Indy dies and the chick that is in the movie takes his place, supposed test screening in England. That's not happened. See, here's the thing. And I think this is really important. And this is something I have to do with so many different people. I'm not blaming anybody, okay? But my brother does this to me. He does this to me a lot. He goes, hey, did you hear blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, yeah, where'd you read that? He goes, oh, from, this website. And then I go to the website and it looks like I built it. I'm like, this is somebody's opinion. This isn't news. And that's the problem with the internet, is that there's so many people putting out so much information, including me. Take anything I say with a grain of salt. But this is just my opinion. But I'm not by any, bentwookie.net. Something like that's, in fact, that's great. You build better websites? No. But what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of talk out there. There's a lot of noise and very little truth. That's why anything that I talk about, it's on one of the major websites. It's on Variety, Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, even Joe Blow's great. Collider, but Collider can sometimes get things wrong. The Direct is another one where it gets something wrong. But the problem with this one, with the whole Kathleen Kennedy stuff from today, I saw John Campea saying this and was going, oh no. So I wanted to talk about it. But there's a lot of that. There are a couple of articles from English papers talking about it in the Sun. Yeah, the Sun is isn't the Sun like like weekly world news here, you know, like the Inquirer, isn't it? Like, I don't know. Um, let's see. Wait, wait. Kathleen is just an old cringe lady. She isn't the devil. She's just not the best at marketing. Not to mention Rogue Squadron is up in the air still. Yep. Waiting on movies till there's a great director and a great script. I am too. You don't have high hopes for Indy 5 because Harrison's too old. Fair. But I guess it's, I should probably stop before someone takes me serious. But it's just one of those things where, yeah, tabloid. But I think The Sun is kind of a tabloid, isn't it? But what I'm saying is, to me, those are not, there's very few websites or news outlets that I trust. The Sun isn't one of them. A lot of these websites just, and there's so many, like there was one that Greek put up not too long ago on the Discord. You probably didn't even see it, but he put it up and I'm like, yeah, that's just somebody's opinion, man. That's not news. That's somebody's opinion. And if you really delve down into some of this stuff, you're like, this is just somebody's opinion. So I hate the fact that a lot of the hatred, this laser focus on Kathleen Kennedy is the reason that Star Wars sucks and that she's been like hell bent on destroying Star Wars this whole time. I don't understand that. I don't. She's worked with George Lucas since the beginning of her career. Why would she want to take his baby and destroy it? That's like saying, I'm going to build up Order 42 so it can fail. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? Later on, got to head out. Been a fun show, though. Carbonite, good to see you, sir. Good to see you. But all I'm trying to say is that I feel like a lot of this, whatever, it's based on somebody's thoughts, and they put it out there. Somebody agrees with it, and then somebody talks about that, and then it just keeps going and going and going until we have just this mountain of crap that's built on someone's opinion. And someone who probably has never worked in the movie industry, including me. That's the thing. You have to understand, I could be completely wrong about this. But to me, logically, it doesn't add up to me. It doesn't add up that Kathleen Kennedy is the reason why all these things went wrong. She's a part of it, sure. Absolutely. But every movie is a team effort. Just like if you love a Steven Spielberg movie, great. But you know what? There's a lot of actors involved. There's all the crew involved, including the cinematographer, the guy on the lights, the guy in the editing bay, the guy that's setting that's why part of the reason why I feel like that's why I wanted to start this Order 42 as a way to shed some light, shine a light on some of these people that don't ever get the spotlight. They don't get the credit they deserve. The visual effects artists don't get the credit they deserve. The set decorators don't get the credit they deserve. The voice actors don't get the credit they deserve. And that's part of the thing. You can't just look at the director and say, oh, well, yeah. If any director is worth his weight, he will tell you, oh, sure, we came up with these ideas and this is how I said I wanted to shoot it. But they're the ones that put it together. They're the ones that pulled it off. I'm just the guy with the idea. I'm just the guy that's trying to steer the ship. You know what I'm saying? So, Indy 5 keeps getting pushed back for some reason. Well, it's not getting pushed back anymore. I mean, we're really close. We're really close. In fact, I wouldn't, okay. I'll tell you this, Ted, and I like I said, I don't want you to feel like I'm picking on you. You know, even if I was, I feel like you could probably take it. But I'm just trying to, I'm trying to get this idea out that movies are not just about one person. It's not just about one studio executive. There's a number of people that are involved. I mean, the reason the credits are sometimes 10 minutes long, there's a reason for that. There's a lot of people involved. And I just don't think that Kathleen Kennedy is the devil like everybody says she is. She's definitely part of it. For sure. But she's not the only one. And with Bob Iger flat out admitting that he gave notes to the directors of The Mandalorian for every single episode and saying, I'm going to watch these and make sure you put in the notes that I... No, Calum, she's not a succubus. She's a part of the process. She's a part of the machine. So you can say, absolutely, did I like Rise of Skywalker? Absolutely not. But I'm not blaming Kathleen Kennedy for that. I'm blaming Chris Terrio for that. Number one, that script is burnt butthole. Satan's burnt butthole. That's what that is, a terrible script. Some terrible things in there. On top of that, I think there was a lot of studio interference that had nothing to do with Kathleen Kennedy. I think it came from up on high. I think Bob Iger saw that movie and said, nope, that's not enough. We need this. We need this. We need them to kiss at the end. I wouldn't doubt that at all. Now it's the devil's anus. Yes. I don't know. I can't tell you for sure. Satan's burnt butthole is satanic. It is. It is. And Patricia would hate it. But I think there's a lot of people to blame. A lot of people. So anyway, here's a little bit of just food for thought. I'm just going to put this out into the ether, and you know what? There's probably this will probably stay with us. This will probably never make it out to the world at large, right? That nobody's ever really going to hear this. But consider what's going on at DC. Okay? DC's been in some trouble. Discovery comes in, buys Warner Brothers. David Zaslav puts two people in charge over DC, a creative person and a producer. You got the best of both worlds, because typically the creative people don't know how to deal with business stuff. They don't care about how much money something's going to cost. They just want to make their thing. The producer is the guy that says, hey, I know you're trying to make this thing, but this is what we got to work with. Or talking to the studio and going, hey, this is what we have to work with. Here's what they're trying to do. We need a couple more dollars, right, to make this happen. So you've got a great producer and a great creative guy working together to be the head of the studio. Not just one person, two people with two different skill sets, completely different skill sets. What if they do that at Lucasfilm to replace Kathleen Kennedy? Then you could have someone like Dave Filoni be a part of it, but then you hire a badass producer to come in and work with him to be the head of the studio. Oh my God, why not? Because that's the biggest, I mean, seriously, a lot of people, the reason that they hate Kathleen Kennedy is they say she's not a Star Wars fan. I'm sorry, I didn't know that in order to do business, you had to be a fan of the thing. Okay, maybe. But if you put Dave Filoni in there along, or anybody, any super hyper creative guy and a hyper producer badass together to form a Voltron of amazing producerness over Lucasfilm, why not? Why hasn't anybody said that? I'm interested to see what Gunn is going to do with DC. I'm glad they got Cavill back as Superman. Yes. Yes. A lot of people have said Dave is who I want on top, not in a sexual way, though. I don't know why you would say that. But anyway, I don't know. That's just what I think. Where would I want Star Wars to go? Who's the bottom, right? I honestly, a lot of people say, well, I want it to be so far away from the Skywalkers that, you don't have to connect anything. I agree with that. I agree with telling any story that can be separate from the Skywalker saga. Great. Tell your story. That's why I'm loving Andor. It literally has nothing to do with the Skywalker saga, except there's the Empire and there's this. I don't care, though. I don't care what you do, but I want creatives in charge. I want there to be a beginning, a middle, and an end where everything makes sense and that it feels like there's a story being told. Story is number one. It's number one. Secondly, great characters. Thirdly, all your technical stuff. Great cinematography. Great visual effects. Great special effects. On-set effects. Great designers. Set designers. All of that. Great sound guys like Ben Burt. Great sound effects and all that kind of stuff. And then great music on top of it. We've had John Williams for the longest time, but you know what? Some of these new guys, I'm really digging Andor's flavor. Really digging it. I wasn't a big fan of Book of Boba Fett's music. Obi-Wan's music was Mandalorian's been pretty good. The music there has been awesome. And I thought that's another reason why I think Solo worked better than Rogue One, is because Solo at least felt like Star Wars. The music felt like Star Wars to me. Rogue One felt like someone imitating Star Wars. It didn't feel like a Star Wars feeling to me. I'm talking about the soundtrack, the score. Okay? And this is by Michael Giacchino, who I really like. But for some reason, and it's probably because he didn't have a whole lot of time to work on it. And it sounded unfinished. And I didn't like that. Just me. But as someone who's, and I'm not the end all be all. It's not just my opinion, right? Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got butthole. Yeah, we've all got butthole, right? Well, most people. I can't say that. But we all have opinions, right? And for me, musically, Rogue One didn't reach the levels of what I expect from a Star Wars movie. It didn't sound finished. It sounded lackluster, hollow. There was only a couple of scenes that felt like it really came together. I absolutely couldn't stand. I guess it was Krennic's theme. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. There's no depth to that. There's no depth to it. It's just a statement. There's nothing else going on. And that's part of one of those things where it's just like, I just can't, I don't like it. And a lot of that movie feels that way, where there's just one level of stuff. To give you an example, listen to any John Williams track. There's so much going on. There's so much depth. Listen to, the asteroid scene in Empire Strikes Back. A lot of people's, some of the favorite music. Listen to all the stuff going on. All the stuff. There's a full orchestra working hard. It's beautiful stuff. But what I love about John Williams is that there were themes layered in themes. And even in the worst, in my opinion, the worst Star Wars movie, in Rise of Skywalker, there are themes within themes. And I love it. I love the sound of that. His scores are so many good. So many good. So good. Anyway. Not a big fan of the techno music they have used in Andor. But I feel like it fits for me, because it's a different kind of show. It's a different kind of Star Wars feel. I feel like it works. I don't know. I mean, look, again, just like you said, opinions are like buttholes. Everybody's got one and they all stink. That's true. And then Ricky says, "How dare you assume I have a butthole?" But I'm just saying, I like the flavor of it. But again, it's all. Battle of Scarif music was great. I found the Battle of Scarif music almost non-existent. See, there you go. See, you liked it. I can't stand it. That whole score, I mean, I've listened to it like on its own, and I'm just like, I just don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't know what to say. Everybody has a butthole, and sometimes they're sexy. All I'm trying to say is, to sum up, Bob Iger's back. That could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. There's some rumors that Kathleen Kennedy might also be out. I hate the fact that the nerds win. To me, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Karens. I know a lot of people don't like the term Karen, okay? But the people that I used to work with, retail, right? The people that would complain, "Oh, I didn't do that, nah, 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 nah." And then because they keep griping, you just end up taking their late fee off. Or you end up giving them the thing that they want just because they keep griping. No. What you're doing is you're teaching people that if you gripe, you'll get your way. And that's not the way an adult should act. So for me, telling these guys that you know, all these guys that have been yelling about Kathleen Kennedy, it just feels icky to me. It just feels icky. Enabling petulant behavior. Yes. The type that throw game cases around the store, right? It's like when again, I'm trying to say the Karens because there's, you know what I'm talking about. There's those kinds of people. If you've worked retail, you know exactly what I'm talking about. These entitled assholes who think that, yeah, the world should bow to them because they pay money in a store. No, that's not how it works. You get to be a decent human being or you get the hell out. That's the way I ran things. That's why I love that one guy that does the IKEA little shorts. You know what I'm talking about? Because a lot of his stuff is exactly the way that I treated people, you know? What was it? Was it, "Hey, do you work here? What do you think? I'm behind the counter because I got lost?" I mean, shit like that, you know, just being a smartass. I love that shit. I love it. I love it. It's one of, he's a good one. I like it. Ha ha, didn't ring up. It must be free. You know what? I wish that was the first time I'd heard that today. What do you think? You're some kind of comedian? I forgot what my own laugh sounds like. I mean, all that stuff is. Yeah, I told you 2 shots of espresso, not 1. Where's your manager? Yeah, yeah. But that's the thing. There are people that act like that. And what we've done is we've, not only as a country, a lot of companies have taken that attitude and awarded that to those people. But then those people have grown up and had children. And these children are now on Twitter. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I mean, really, it's learned behavior. Somebody somewhere has taught these people that this is the way that an adult should act, and it's not. Somebody said, "Hey, maybe we should, yell at an actor because they didn't do their job they didn't act the way that I wanted them to. Let's bully Jake Lloyd into, depression and anxiety for the rest of his life because we didn't like the Anakin says yippee." I'm telling you, those are lines that a lot of people won't ever cross. But those are lines that, again, I feel like in a lot of ways, people are awarding. Like if they get rid of Kathleen Kennedy because the fans don't like her, well, that's bullshit. I almost got written up at GameStop over someone wanting a cash refund for a game outside the return window without a receipt, even after I asked my manager and they said no. DM wanted me written up. The manager refused to write me up, though. That's a good manager right there. And that's the thing. I actually refused this lady. I've told the story about the car driving through the store. This lady said it was due back the day before this movie. And I think the lady said, no, I returned it on this day. And I'm like, well, not only is that late, but that's the day that the car drove through the store. You're saying that you dropped it off when? I dropped it off at 11. Yeah, there was a hole in our store. Are you telling me that you saw this? She goes, no, I dropped it off inside. You're a liar. You're a liar and a liar and you're a liar and I hate your face. She called the district manager and he said, well, this lady says that you yelled at her. I said, yeah, I did. She's using the hole in our store where someone almost died to try to get out of a late fee. No, I'm not taking it off. He goes, no, you need to take it off. I said, look, I respect you, but I'm not taking it off. You're going to have to call some other manager, call the store manager, call Krista and have her take it off. I'm not doing it. I refuse. And you know what? I got my way. I didn't have to do it. But I said, I'm not doing it. I'm putting my foot down on that one. You try to tell you that's like somebody trying to take advantage of a disaster. You know? Like 9/11 happens and somebody says, "Oh, I returned that movie." Really? In the middle of the yeah. I mean it's not the same. Sorry. But you know what I mean? It's like it's just wrong. And it's so wrong. It's on a level that is so bad because you're not even smart enough to make it make sense. It's just F those people, you know? I hate what they did to... Oh, yeah, Ahmed Best. He was close to suicide from all the BS people put on him. Yeah, why? If customer points a gun at me, the mother effer ain't right. I mean, yeah. I despise Rostico, but I know it's not Kelly Marie Tran's fault. Idiots can't tell the difference between truth and fiction. I know. How much for the late fee? Oh, I don't even remember. It wasn't crazy, but it was enough that she was upset. And it was also enough that I'm like, because I mean, there were many times when I would just be like, okay, you know what? I don't even want to argue with you. It's $4. But no, it was enough that I don't know. I don't remember what the thing was, but I'm like, dude, I even told the district manager, I'm like, so you think that this behavior is okay? That she's basically lying to my face. We know for a fact that she didn't return it then because there was a hole in the store. The drop box was in the middle of the store. You're telling me that that's okay? That we can just take this off? For somebody to lie like that? No. This idiot got mad at me for not refunding an unopened item from last year. Yeah. Crazy. People hated their gift and tried to exchange it even though they didn't buy it and have no receipt. Shit on. My old manager got held up at gunpoint twice working in Ohio GameStops. Wow. Some people don't get that their pride will cost them more than any dollar amount given. But they don't understand that. They're not smart enough. They're not smart enough for that. To me, it's like, I don't know. This is, I'm making a judgment call, and this is one of those things where I feel like I've atoned for some of the bad things that I've done in my life. But it's like when you do one bad thing, especially when it's at someone else's, it's literally at another person's expense. The more that you do that, it makes it easier the next time. and then easier the next time, and then easier, and then suddenly you're just lying just to see if you can get away with it. It's like, to me, it's almost like, it's not like it, but it's almost like it when someone steals something. There's that thrill, like, oh my God, I'm going to get caught. Then you get away with it and you're like, oh my God, let's do it again. Oh my, wow, that was a rush. That was fun. Some people get addicted to that and they do it again and again and again. It could be like killing. It could be like anything that's wrong. So to me, even though there's a big difference between somebody trying to get over a late fee at a Blockbuster from years and years ago and somebody who's, murdered somebody, the idea that it's okay, that behavior isn't poison to your own, it's poison. And that's why, I have always said the reason I thought, well, I've said this for a long time. I said, so many people only do the right thing for the fear of being caught. They don't do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Like, how many times have you told the truth when you totally gotten away with it? How many people actually still do that? How many people have the integrity to be able to do that? A lot of people at Blockbuster, man, they would lie. If they could get away with it, they would. It's the people, to me, it's the same as people that cut you off in traffic. No concern for anybody else, only themselves. It's this completely selfish behavior that we've taught people, that they can just get away with things. And if everybody thought that way, then they would just be anarchy. I don't know. Am I preaching? I'm preaching now. I need to stop. Maybe that's how Billy feels when he lets one out in public. Billy loves the rush. Yes. Look, all I'm trying to say is, I don't believe in rewarding bad behavior. I don't. I just don't. And to me, I feel like people are going to get the wrong idea for if Kathleen Kennedy is actually going to be let go. Hey, Aniket, welcome. How's it going? We're just wrapping up. We're about to call it a night. It's been a long night. We need to kill the mantra of the customer is always right. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, look, it's just like I said, I feel like that kind of behavior on the internet in particular is really damaging to people's souls. And it's not even reality. Because every time that I've called somebody out on some bullshit, they tend to back off. And they go, oh my God, I didn't know anybody was looking at this. No, I'm looking at it and you're being an ass. You know what I mean? It's just a weird thing. And I try, like I said, I just try to do the right thing, man. I try to do the right thing. I try to do right by people. I try to, be a good dude. Because I want people to be a good dude to me. Good people to me. Those comments are typically done by people who are brave behind a monitor and will never have the guts to say it to anyone's face. Not wrong. You're not wrong. But look, guys, it is getting late and my throat is getting... I also need to eat something. I am hungry. Very hungry. But here's the deal. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Even if you don't celebrate it. Happy Thanksgiving. I don't know. Just happy Thanksgiving. Another 4 minutes. Why? We'll probably do another 4 minutes. But no. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you have a great time. I know I'm going to be spending some time with some family, and it's going to be great. And then we've got Andor in just, 4 hours and 17 minutes. I'm excited. But, however you celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you have a good one. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, hey, have a great week. And we will see you back here Tuesday, 7 p.m., just like we always do. 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So yeah, have a good one. And if you want to, take advantage of some of those crazy seals, the deals and sales that are going on, hey, do that too. And even pop over onto the Discord and let me know what you got, because that's fun too. Unbutton those pants and get ready to give some stuffing. Whoa, whoa. So you guys have a great one, and yeah, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye. I have to hit the button. Bye. Man, I'm goofy.